Life is full of many good and horrible experiences. One of the most terrible things to witness are friends turning foes, family coming against family, and spouses wishing each other bad. However, they say change is constant, which can be a blessing or a curse, dawn to dusk. It was the same for Ramon Sosa, whose friend said his estranged wife wanted to pay a hitman £1,500 to murder him. You can imagine all the emotional trouble going through someone being told that his wife is ready to pay an assassin $1,500 just to murder him. Mr. Ramon Sosa was left confused, angry, and shaken after discovering that his estranged wife wanted him dead. The most thrilling side of this story is the part where he had to face his wife at home and make her feel like he knew nothing about her intentions. You will love to know a very crazy story that follows this reality of Mr. Ramon Sosa and his estranged wife, Mrs. Maria Durantes. Before continuing this touching real-life story, kindly subscribe to our channel and smash the notification bell button to get more documentary videos similar to this one. Mr. Sosa confesses that when he saw Maria, a personal trainer known as Lulu, on the dance floor at a Houston nightclub in 2007, he couldn't take his gaze away from her. They partied hard and became an item, and in the early stages, Maria lavished him with attention, spoiled him with gifts and massages, and helped him run the boxing gym where he coached young folks. Maria, born in Mexico, had been in the United States on a temporary visa, married Mr. Sosa in 2010, and became an American citizen. "Now she's your problem," her mother stated that day, and it stuck in Mr. Sosa's head. The marriage became tense within years, and Maria was circulating false allegations about him, claiming he was an alcoholic and a violent husband. The two, who worked together at a gym, also ran into financial difficulties, putting even more strain on their relationship. Fast forward to 2015, when Maria stunned Mr. Sosa by telling him that she wanted a divorce. Both Mr. Sosa and Maria continued to live in their two-story home, with Mr. Sosa on one level and Maria's mother and children from a previous relationship on the other. Mr. Sosa, who had also previously been divorced, was now single. His children had grown up and been on their own. Mr. Sosa believed they would eventually go their ways after the divorce as the agreement progressed. On the other hand, Maria was looking for someone to kill him for 2,000 pesos, or about £1,500, later telling an undercover cop, "I want him dead." Luckily, a friend of Mr. Sosa's who worked at the gym happened to walk in on Maria as she was discussing contracting a Mexican family who murdered for money. Maria later admitted to her friend that she was seeking a hitman to kill her husband. Mr. Sosa's friend, whom he has labeled Mundo, not his real name, promised to assist her but alerted him about the murder-for-hire plan in a terrifying phone call. Mr. Sosa said, "When he told me, I didn't want to believe him. I thought he was joking around. But I knew he was serious when he said, 'Look, I have seen that look in people's eyes when they want to kill somebody, and they were serious. This lady wants to kill you.'" Mr. Sosa, who was on his way to the store at that time, paused to collect his thoughts before returning to the house he shared with the woman who wanted him dead for financial gain. He says, "I had to go home and see her face, and I had suppressed all my anger. When I got home, Maria and her family were upstairs, and I was in such a bad mood. I walked into a room, shut the door, and lay in bed staring at the ceiling, wondering what was I going to do. Should I approach her knowing that someone living in my house wants to kill me?" Mundo later told Maria that he had tracked down two hitmen, Paco and John Boy. She was given a phone number for someone she thought of being a hired killer. However, the person who texted her back was Mr. Sosa, acting as his own assassin. By that time, Mr. Sosa had gone to the police and been advised to continue conversing with her in order to gain additional evidence and strengthen a criminal case in the eyes of a court or a jury. The cops, who had Maria on a wiretap discussing the hit, then approached her husband with a novel suggestion to turn the case into a slam dunk. They wanted him to stage his own murder because they were afraid at least one judge would sympathize with Maria's falsehoods and not convict her. The goal was to show Maria a picture of Mr. Sosa's dead body and have a reaction used against her as proof. Mr. Sosa agreed, but he didn't believe Maria would be duped. He stated, "The police told me that she was a good-looking woman, a mother, and well-known in the neighborhood, and they were frightened that if the case went to trial, the judges would sympathize with her. So they decided to stage a death." Mr. Sosa and a police officer needed to make up something to build a case against Mrs. Maria Durantes. The police officer faked the execution of Mr. Sosa to catch his wife, who laughed happily when an undercover operative officer, posing as a hitman, showed her a photo of Mr. Sosa's crumpled body in a shallow grave. Officers used makeup on Mr. Sosa to make it look like he had been shot in the head after watching a YouTube makeup tutorial the night before the incident and studying crime scene photos of other murder victims. Mr. Sosa stripped down to his underwear and jumped into a shallow grave that they had prepared. As one of the officers snapped shots from various angles, he laid there with his eyes closed, hand behind his back, and fake blood gushing from the fake headshot. An undercover officer posing as a hitman visited Maria while he was in hiding for 3 days to inform her that Mr. Sosa was dead and to show her the body images in a pit. She chuckled, shook the man's hand, and handed him another $1,000. Maria Durante's reaction was everything the police needed to put her away for 20 years. When police showed up at the gym the next day and arrested her, she said that she had no idea where her husband was. She later pleaded guilty in 2016 to facilitation of murder and was sentenced to up to 20 years in prison. Mr. Sosa astonished his friends and family when he went to court and told his wife that he had forgiven her. Mr. Sosa stated, "When this was happening, I was filled with hatred and anger. I was a ticking time bomb. Why would my wife try to do this to me, I thought, irritated. We could have divorced and moved on with our lives. I felt compelled to let go of my rage in some manner, and forgiving her was the finest thing I could have done. In a crowded courtroom, I stood up. Many people were taken by surprise when I told them that I had forgiven her. She never even gave me a second look. She didn't express remorse. I said, 'There isn't a perfect individual in this courtroom. We've all made mistakes. However, now that you've made a mistake, you're going to have to pay the price.' I said, 'I am forgiving, but I am not forgetful. I'll never forget it. My life will never be the same after this experience.' The simple fact is, one day she will be free and Mr. Sosa will have to be looking over his shoulder once again." The father of 3, Mr. Sosa, who has found love for the 3rd time and is engaged, will continue his life, thinking he could bump into Maria at a shop or in the street later in his life. The 55-year-old former boxer, who hails from Houston, Texas, said, "When she is released, there is some consideration of retaliation? I've spoken with the authorities about it, and they've explained how everything will work and what she'll have to go through." Domestic violence against men is more prevalent than most people realize. Men stay in these kinds of situations for the same reason women do: money, love, or anything else. Reporting it doesn't make you any less of a man. So what do you guys think about this story? Kindly share your opinions in the comment section, and don't forget to like and share the story with your friends and families. Subscribe to the channel to see more documentary videos like this one. Thanks so much, guys, and I hope to see you again next time.